Welcome to the JD Remedy. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the JD Remedy. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. I feel like that intro's caught on. I don't know why. I just feel the urge to say that every single time now. I know a good podcast has a good intro that makes you just want to sing along or yell along, whatever that is. How are you all doing? Happy whatever day it is that you're listening to this podcast. I got up nice and early this morning. I had a gym session, so I'm all hyped up on pre-workout, BCAAs, and food. I had a snack before I started recording today. I am joined by someone today. No, it is not a podcast guest. It is my neighbor and his lawnmower. He is a favorite here at the JD Remedy podcast. Do you know what? I'm going to go over there. I'm going to fucking introduce myself and say, don't be shy. Just come over, introduce yourself, so then I can give you a shout out every time I record, because I fucking may as well. No, seriously. Hope you guys are doing really well. I had a really big response from last week's episode in terms of what constitutes as cheating and were you cheated on and setting your own boundaries. Had a lot of feedback in terms of conversations you guys had with your partners and just your friend groups and some boundaries that you set for yourself. I know a lot of you said that you had never really thought about that kind of stuff till you answered the poll questions and listened to the episode. So I'm really grateful and happy that that was able to start a conversation for you guys. And I'm glad that it had some impact. You know, that is always my jam. That's my jam. Today, I have a topic around cheating, and it's similar to my breakup bootcamp episode that I did in terms of just how to get through it. It'll be specifically for if you've just been cheated on, like what the hell do you do? How do you navigate through these emotions? How do you support yourself? How do you get through this? And what decision should you make? Because I know that is a big question and a big topic. So super excited to take you guys through that today. But before we do, let's get into recommendations. All right, so I'm going to recommend a true crime documentary, go figure. And for anyone watching this on YouTube, my cat's tail is brushing in and out of the frame because he's sitting on the table with me. So if you see a random bit of fluff fly past the screen, welcome to my house. This is my reality. Yes, so the documentary I'm recommending is called Cyber Hell: Exposing an Internet Horror. So it's about a network of online chat rooms that have run rampant with sex crimes, and the hunt to take down its operators required guts and tenacity. So that's obviously what it's called on Netflix. It's about a bunch of people that run anonymous chat rooms on the dark web. They rope young girls or teenagers and sometimes children into manipulating them to take their clothes off, take nudes of themselves, do stuff on video, in some cases hurt themselves, film it all and continue sending it in to thousands of people that are in these chat rooms and watching. And what they do is they randomly send someone a text message saying, hey, I think your nudes have been leaked, or is this a photo of you? And obviously the girls want to know and protect themselves, so they click the link. And as soon as they click the link, the anonymous people, the perpetrators in the chat rooms, have access to all of their personal details, their contact number, their address, where they live, their parents, where their parents work, where they go to school, everything. So they manipulate them into continuously doing this stuff on video and taking photos and videos of themselves and blackmail them, saying, if you don't do what we tell you to do, we're going to send these photos to, well, we're going to tell your dad, we're going to come to your house, we're going to kill you, we're going to rape you. Multiple stuff that is absolutely terrifying. So these girls were blackmailed and manipulated into doing horrible things on video. Yeah, it's filmed in Korean, but it has the English voiceover. So if you don't mind the mouth matching up with the words on screen, then that's okay. Sometimes it's a little hard to watch because they show like text messages, or the way that they filmed the documentary is people conversing on the dark web, and it's in Korean. And they do put English subtitles over the top, but you have to like pause it to read it because they go through it quickly. That was the only frustrating part about it. But yeah, it's just about multiple different people bringing it to light. One of them is a news or team of journalists. The police are involved. I think a couple of students that went to university that are studying to do journalism and picked this up, not thinking it would be a huge story. And they kind of all teamed together over the span of like a couple of years and put all their evidence together and kept sending everything to the police. A lot of them were in the chat rooms undercover, pretending to get all of this information and bring it to light. And spoiler alert, so if you don't want to know what happens, fast forward a couple of minutes, but spoiler alert, they ended up catching two of the main perpetrators. They had the biggest rooms, they owned multiple rooms, they were the ones that went after the girls, and they did catch them. But here's the fucking thing that got me. They were talking about, like, they showed in detail and they were recounting how they caught these guys. And they were like, yeah, we waited for him. We had to like check out his daily routine. And then one afternoon he was out the front of his house with his dad, and his dad was teaching him how to ride a bike. And I was like, hang on a damn minute. He was what? With who? Where? How old is this person? And you know, when you think of like perpetrators on the dark web, you think of like older men or just adults in general, you know, just that typical older, you know what comes to mind, like that older sleazy fucking old guys that prey on young children. No, these boys were in high school. They were in high school and they did this to other girls in high school, and they were manipulating them, and they were involved in selling drugs on the dark web and guns, and like, how do you even fathom doing this? I think they were, how old was he? He was 24 years old. A 24-year-old orchestrated this whole thing on the dark web. Like, I just can't even fathom. And they lived at home with their parents, by the way. Like, my mind is baffled. How does this happen in this teenager's bedroom? I don't know. I don't get it. And another one of the guys was in high school. Obviously, the 24-year-old wasn't. But like, how does this ring of young boys like orchestrate this? I just don't get it. And they had heaps of mules like dropping money off for them. They were selling girls to earn crypto. Like, how do you trade another female's life and dignity and images of her body and videos just so you can earn crypto? Like, it's really scary what happens on the dark web. I thought it was all pretty fucked up how well orchestrated it was and how long it went on for before anyone was like, hang on a minute. What's going on here? Crazy. And just some of the stuff that was coming out was just horrendous. So highly recommend that. Yeah, so Cyber Hell, Exposing an Internet Horror, and it is on Netflix. So go check it out. All right, so let's get into today's podcast. It's going to be similar to my breakup episode where I go through different stages for you guys and different phases. Again, you may relate to this. Your stages could be completely different. Obviously, there are a numerous amount of ways to be cheated on, to find out, to cope with it, to get through it, and then to come out on the other side of it. A lot of this is through my own experience, what I've watched my friends go through, and just what I recommend to look after yourself, make sure you're healthy and happy at the end of the day. So the first one we're going to go through is the fire. So you've just been cheated on, you know, and I think it goes without saying, again, there's so many different ways that you can be cheated on. Did someone come to you and tell you? Did your partner tell you, or did you find out? A lot of this stuff is going to be if you found out, because that's kind of what fucks you up the most, whether you saw it coming or not, is you have to find out through other people, and that is what's fucked. That's part of the hurt, that's part of the betrayal, is other people know and they come to you and tell you. So I'm going to tell you a fun story. Fun, I use that word lightly. A lot of my ex-boyfriends, two in particular, were notorious cheaters, and I stayed with them over and over again. And I think that's going to be a whole other episode around why we stay. But I've got a fantastic story to tell you around one time I found out he cheated. So let's get into the juicy guff. So I think the most important thing in the fire stage is it's just happened, is give yourself time and space to feel whatever you need to feel. Comprehend what the hell has just happened. Everything's going to be moving really quickly. Your emotions are going to be up and down, and you're going to feel extreme emotions, extreme hurt, extreme anger, extreme frustration, extreme loss, extreme confusion. Like, what the fuck is happening? Why did this happen? Who is involved, etc., etc. Obviously, your partner or the person involved will either pass the blame to someone else, deny it. They may grovel and beg for your forgiveness or to stay with them. But at the end of the day, your trust was broken and you're hurting. So in all honesty, the only person that you need to look after is yourself in this example, and I will explain why. I think it's really important to give yourself the time to feel what you need to before making any decisions, because it can be quite overwhelming with other people's opinions, the noise that's going on around this, and a lot of people will have opinions on what you need to do. But at the end of the day, whatever happens during and after the fire is your decision, what you're comfortable with and what you're happy to do. So when it happens in the fire is the most chaotic because for a lot of us, it happens out of nowhere and our world just kind of comes tumbling down. Right? It's, how did I not see this coming? Or why? Why has this happened? Why? I thought we were good. I thought we trusted each other. I thought you loved me. Why feel the need to cheat with someone else? And obviously, because I know last week's episode was what is cheating. I think a lot of this is obviously physical cheating. They've physically been with someone else, or for you, it could just be the emotional side of things as well. You just found out they told someone else they love them. But for these examples, let's pretend that they physically have cheated with someone else. A lot of the time, what went through my mind was what I never understood through the numerous times that I was cheated on was why? Like, why did they feel the need to cheat with other people? Like, we had a great relationship. We were sleeping together. I think a lot of the time it's an ego thing. Like, they know that they can get it elsewhere. They like the attention. They really like you and love you. So they want the best of both worlds. They want to be able to live out that playboy life of, chasing women and getting women whenever they feel they want to or they can, but also come home and have the girlfriend experience, right? And obviously, if you're in a monogamous relationship and you are committed to someone, you can't have the best of both worlds. So I think that was always like the biggest conflicting thing for me. And this is the problem with staying with cheaters, is it kind of gives them permission to continue to do that because they know that there's no consequences. They know that they can get away with it. But that's a whole other episode. Let's not go down that rabbit hole. The next stage I want to talk about is embers. So the fire is burning and those embers are spreading. I like my metaphors in this. The analogies are going crazy. I think with embers and this fire spreading, one thing you want to think about is, do you want to know the details? Because as humans, when people tell us something, we need to create a picture in our head. We need to visualize what happened. But ask yourself, what does knowing the details accomplish? Do you need to know the level that they went to, the level of hurt, the level of betrayal? Was it just a kiss? Have they slept together? Have they slept together multiple times? Do you need to know who was involved? Which friends were there? Which friends knew? Which friends have kept this from you? Did their family know? To what extent? I know for me, I've had friends involved, not just knowing about it, but actually being the ones that hooked up with my partner. I know for a fact I've had partners that have cheated in their home. So the mum knew, the brother knew. It's just this whole fucking fuckle. This whole debacle. I've just got so many instances. But to me, again, I think Obviously, as a human in the moment, you're like, tell me everything. I want to fucking know. Is it a way of us having control over the situation maybe? Because obviously we were left in the dark whilst they were cheating. We had no idea. So is asking what happened and knowing the details a way for us to gain that control back and say, I know everything that happened now. Like, I'm in the loop with everybody else now. But the thing with knowing details is, in my opinion, it just sucks 10 times more because you are so much more hurt. Knowing the details of what happened, you continuously replay it over and over in your head. And the hurt lasts a lot longer because you picture it. And for me, a lot of the times when I was cheated on, it was during high school. So I had to see the people all the time. Yeah, and now I can't imagine like social media being such a big thing. Is like you can stalk those people, you can find them, you can see pictures of them, and it just makes it worse. Like putting a face to a name and a place and a situation. Like I often talk about in my podcast things like triggers. So I always talk about removing negative triggers, things that are going to upset you. If you know the details, like where they cheated on you, and you have to drive past that place all the time, that's a trigger for you. If you want to know the face or the name and you go to school with them, or they work together and now you have to think about them at work all the time, that's a trigger. So ask yourself in the ember stage, do you really want to know the details? If so, that's okay. It's your decision, but for what purpose? And get clear on that first. For what purpose do you want to know these details? And obviously a burning embers spread. So how far are you going to take this, and how long do you want this to be a problem? Because the more details you ask, the more questions you ask, then the longer and the further it will go on for. Baby boy, playing with the leaf. The next phase is the smoke, right? So the fire's kind of calming down, but it's more so the aftermath, right? There's still smoke everywhere. You can't breathe and you can't see straight. God, these analogies are just fucking on fire. No pun intended. So it's just happened and it's not okay. And you have every right to feel the way that you do. But what do you do about it? What will you do? Do you have friends that you need to vent to cry to let out the emotion? Do you have people that you can rely on? Do you have family that you can go to? I think something that's really important is journaling. Or for me, I like vlogging with my camera, like talking to my camera. You can record voice notes. I think the most important thing is letting out that emotion. Don't hold it in, but release it in a healthy way. I think because we're drowning in these thoughts and we're confused and we're hurt and we just feel so betrayed, we have so many questions. And in the ember stage, if you decided not to know the details, a healthy way to release that way of wondering, or that the longing for answers, is asking the questions yourself, talking to your friends about it, not going direct to the source and making that pain hurt for yourself. It's more for yourself. It's, writing the questions in the journal, telling the journal how hurt you are. How could he do this to me? I didn't see it coming. He told me he loved me every day. That girl was my friend. How did his mum not say anything? Or whatever the situation is I think it's a really healthy outlet to talk about it amongst yourself and get what is in your head out. Get it out, whether that's voice memo, whether that's on camera to yourself, journaling, meditation, art. Do you like to draw? Like whatever it is, it's super healthy to get it out of your head and on paper. I think a part of this smoke phase is, whilst you're answering these questions to yourself, were there any signs? Did you have that gut feeling? Like, did you really not trust him in the first place? Did he always flirt? Does he hide his phone from you? Did you always have that gut feeling that something else was going on and this was kind of just the cherry on top or the tip of the iceberg to then allow it to crumble and be like, I kind of saw this coming. The smoke phase can be super insightful. Like if you didn't see this coming and it came out of nowhere, maybe they genuinely are not a piece of shit. I can probably think of, and this comes with a lot of growth and a lot of self-worth and self-love and respect for other people, that I think there are some situations where cheating is obviously not okay, But you can work it out. You can work on it together. Like whether you're single and you're 21 years old and you've just been cheated on and he's a fuckboy and he sleeps around and flirts with everyone and treats you like shit, he's a piece of shit. But, you know, are you married? Do you have kids? Did he just get super wasted one night and it was an accident? Like, and you can see that he is completely hurt by what he's done. And, you know, I think in your gut, and you just know your partner better than anyone. And do they really not give a fuck? Did they not tell you? Did you find out by someone else? Did they come to you and tell you that they fucked up and they apologize and you can see that they're hurting? You know, I think there's lots of different scenarios. So depending on what's happened, this is why every situation is different depending on what you've gone through yourself. But did they genuinely fuck up or are they just a piece of shit? And that is how you proceed. Really important part of the smoke process is making sure that you've released that emotion. You actually cannot make proper decisions or think clearly if you're emotional. When you are super emotional, you actually shut off the part of your brain that makes decisions. That's why in business, when we talk about when you're super stressed, when you're overwhelmed, take a break, because you cannot keep working in that fight or flight mode. You cannot keep working if you're super stressed, overwhelmed, upset, angry. That's why we say feel whatever you need to and take that self-care time to just fucking cry your eyes out. Listen to Olivia Rodrigo in the bath with a bottle of wine, crying your eyes out, and eat chocolate and fucking Ben and Jerry's ice cream. You're welcome. Get it out, because if you're in that fucking whirlpool of, oh my God, what just happened? Oh my God, asking questions, details. I'm so emotional. Like, how did this happen? I feel betrayed. I'm so hurt, but I'm also so angry. I want to ring him right now and ask him all the details. You're giving them the opportunity first to either go, babe, it wasn't me. It wasn't like that. You know, fill your head with fucking shit before you allow yourself to process what's happened. You are entitled to your own thought process. You are entitled to your own feelings and your own way of making decisions about what the fuck has just happened. And if you allow yourself to listen to other people's opinions, listen to your friends, listen to the boy that's just fucking cheated on you, it can cloud your judgment. It can cloud the way that you feel. Okay, so feel everything you need to, get the emotions out. Then when you feel a bit calmer, this can take weeks. If you don't want to talk to him for a couple of days while you calm down, you are absolutely allowed to do that. You don't owe him anything. You don't owe him any time. You don't owe him any effort. You don't owe him any fucking connection, an explanation or anything. Just say, not talking to you right now. I'm hurt. I need a couple of hours. I need a couple of days. I need a couple of weeks. Fuck right off. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to look after myself right now because I'm hurt. Then when you feel of sound mind, however long that takes, obviously the hurt will last a while, but enough for you to make proper decisions and actually think about what the fuck just happened and what you're going to do. Just take the time to mourn. I think in talking to your partner when they've just cheated, do you just want to be heard? Like, why? Why do you want to talk to them? Think about it. Do you just want to be heard? Do you want them to see how upset you are? Are you looking for an explanation? Are you looking for an apology? Because a lot of the time, in my experience, it's always just been absolutely no regard for my feelings. It's just, oh, that wasn't me. It didn't happen. It won't happen again. And it did multiple times, you know, or it was just complete denial or blaming somebody else. Like, she came on to me, like, I was drunk, whatever. It was never, you know, what answer do you want? What answer do you want? It's them coming to you first and saying, I fucked up. I've done something horrible. Like, I'm so sorry I've done this to you. Just acknowledging that how hurt you are, you know, and will you even get that if you speak to them? So look after yourself first. Put yourself first. Okay. The next stage, the clear. So the smoke has passed. There's no fire. This stage comes at whatever time you want it to. How long are you going to give yourself? And there's no fucking time limit. This goes literally day by day, hour by hour with how you're feeling and when you're ready. The smoke is cleared. What are you now going to do? What boundaries are you going to put in place? Are you going to choose to stay? Again, we talk about how it happened, how you found out who was involved. That's why the The other stages are important before you get to the clear stage and make a decision. There's so much to consider. The really important thing before you make a decision is, once you've considered everything that I just mentioned, is what kind of relationship is this going to be moving forward if you choose to stay? How are you going to feel about yourself and the relationship? Are you going to be jealous? Has it made you insecure? Are you going to be controlling or worrying what they're doing all the time? Do you genuinely feel that they fucked up and they're totally devoted to you and they're not going to do it again? Or is this a continuous pattern with them? So the decision you make right now is what life you're going to create for yourself for as long as you stay with them. Is it going to be an enjoyable relationship? Yes, they betrayed you, but is it going to change? What chance are you going to give them based on who they are and how they've treated you? Do you believe he'll put in the effort? And if so, what does that effort look like for you? Because I think this is where a lot of couples get lost, is you say, okay, I forgive you, we'll give it another go, just don't do it again. But what does that mean? What does that look like? Is he still going to go out on boys' nights? Is he still allowed to go to the strippers? Is he still allowed to see that friend? What boundaries are in place now? And are the boundaries healthy for you and him? Are the boundaries healthy for your relationship? Are they enjoyable? Or do you feel like you're going to live in a fucking relationship prison if you proceed with this relationship? And it's a whole other fucking topic around why we would get back with these people and what that looks like. The next step is if you get back with them. But how hurt are you? How bad was the betrayal? Who was involved? Decide everything you need to. But really think about what this decision means. And yes, if you get back with them, cool, that's your decision. But don't do it in the heat of the emotion. Yes, I validate that you love them and you want to be with them. But that doesn't take away from the fact that they betrayed you and they hurt you. So what do you do with that hurt? Do you really believe that things will change and this will be easy moving forward? Obviously, it's not going to be easy. Your relationship will never be the same. And I promise you, from someone that was cheated on multiple times from different partners, it doesn't change. It doesn't. I've never been with someone that has cheated on me and then didn't cheat on me again. So that's just my experience. I'm sure other people, I think about the Sex and the City episode where Steve cheats on Miranda. I think that's what I mean. That's a genuine, I fucked up. You can hear it in his voice. He's like, it's not him. He did it out of desperation and lack of connection and blah, blah, blah. Whole other story, right? But in my experience, they're just immature, young pieces of shit who want the attention. They like the ego and they don't give a fuck about me. Right? So whatever your situation is, you got to really think about it for yourself. Another thing to think about in the clear phase is, what lessons has this taught you? Did it teach you that you have a great intuition? You are very connected with your gut feeling. Maybe you saw this coming. Maybe it'll teach you in the future to listen to those gut feelings and act on it before you're hurt. Maybe it taught you about, especially if you're young, you may come across more of these boys. And, this is unfortunately part of character development and the way that we discover what we believe we're worth and the type of partner we want. Unfortunately, we have to go through hardships and challenges to understand what it is we like, what we deserve, what we like about ourselves, what we will tolerate, what we won't tolerate. The list fucking goes on, right? So in the clear, think about it. This is where journaling and stuff comes into play as well. What has it taught you about yourself? A huge thing I do with my clients is, what do you value? What are your highest values? If you're someone that values trust over anything else, this is going to completely fuck you up. If you're someone that values honesty, maybe they came to you first and told you that they cheated. So maybe that changes something for you. You're like, hey, he was honest. Let's work on it. But maybe you found out through someone else and it fucked you up because you value honesty. And he's lied, he's cheated, he's gone behind your back, What do you value and is that broken? If you value trust and honesty, is this relationship going to work? Probably not. There's plenty of other people out there that wouldn't cheat on you. What do you value and are you going to get that from this person and from this relationship? other things to think about is what friends were there for you during this time. I know I got a lot closer with my friends. It's interesting how fucked up things in your life create beautiful friendships for you and beautiful connections, because when I was going through all that, I'm still best friends with those girls. You know what I mean? So it's interesting what comes out of the woodwork. Maybe friends don't give a fuck about you. Maybe they were the ones that slept with your boyfriend. You know, you never know. So what is it teaching you? Who's around you? Who betrayed you? Who was involved? I know it's such a toxic process. It's such a toxic life lesson, but unfortunately a lot of us are going to go through it or have been through it. But it will shape you, and no pressure, but the decision you make will shape you and will shape some years to come in how you live your life. If I could go back, and I honestly have no regrets, and I know I'm a big believer in things happen for a reason, and I am who I am today because of it. But a lot of the time, I wish I could just go back in those moments and like sit next to my younger self when she had just found out, or when she was deciding to stay, and just give her a little fucking pep talk and hug her and, you know, just tell her she deserved better. And don't believe them when they tell you they're not going to do it again. So yeah, it's really upsetting to think about like your younger self. If you're like really young and you're listening to this, you know, if you're in your early 20s and you've just been cheated on, I just want to tell you, like, babe, I know you love him. And I know it's so hard to hear, and you probably don't give a fuck about a stranger's opinion, but you are so young and you're beautiful, and you are so worth a partner that has your trust and loves you and thinks the world of you and treats you like a queen. Like, there are so many other fish in the sea. And I know everybody said that to me when I was cheated on, and I was like, but I love him, and I stayed. And it just caused more hurt and more stress and more turmoil and more trauma. So I know it's really hard, and we don't think highly of ourselves enough to believe that we're worth something more, or we just hold on to that hope that, no, it's just this one time. Like, don't have that mindset that you're going to change this person. Like, they are who they are. And I know for a lot of us girls, we want to be that person that's like, I'm going to change him. Like, he sleeps around, but I'm going to change him. Like, we're going to get married. No, stop it. I'm speaking from experience. It doesn't work like that. And you know what? These guys may have grown up and now have, like, from my experience, now have successful relationships, but that's their journey. Maybe they needed to be a fucking piece of shit when they were younger and cheat on everything that fucking breathed and walked. So maybe they are married now and having the time of their lives, but it's not up to you to change them. This is your life, and you need to do what's best for you. You can't stay in a toxic environment and a toxic relationship hoping that they'll change or you will change them, because that's not up to you. That's their journey. Your journey is about being treated like the queen that you are and being shown that you're worth love, respect, honesty, just fucking being treated like a queen. You know, so stop it. Get some help. Just kidding. All right, I'm going to end with a Fanyola story. So, toward the end of high school, I think I was in year 11, so I was like 16, and then going into 17. I think we were together for like 2 years. Cheated on me all the time, but I stayed because, you know, why not? For shits and gigs. It's character development. I remember one time I was on the bus on the way to Carousel, which is like a big shopping center in Perth if you're not from here, and I got a message on Facebook. So Instagram wasn't a thing back then. Got a message on Facebook from this random girl that was like, hey, just want to let you know I'm so fucking sorry, but I slept with your boyfriend yesterday. I didn't know that he had a girlfriend. He didn't tell me. But I saw on his Facebook after we had slept together, like, you were in all these photos, and I did some stalking and found it out by myself. And do you know what? Credit to this girl. Did not know me from a bar of soap, but girl code, she had some morals. She felt like absolute shit, messaged me and told me. I could have been a serial killer for all she knew. But fucking hats off, mate. Like, the courage it would have taken to do that. But, man, What an angel. Anyway, obviously I get this random message and I'm like, okay, well, I don't know you from a bar of soap. Why should I believe you? You know, you kind of get defensive. And I was like, look, would you be willing to meet up with me in Carousel? I'm on my way there now, and show me some evidence. Like, I'm happy to hear you out. So she got on a bus. We didn't have our license when we were 16. She got on a bus and met me at the shopping center. So brave. I would probably not do that. I would just send receipts. But yeah, this is back when iPhone message wasn't even a fucking thing. Like, you had to send them. Like, every message that you sent back then was like one message. You can't see like a thread of messages. Fuck, I'm so old. But so she met up with me and gave me her phone, and I read through all of the messages. Like, they'd been sending photos, even him like acknowledging that they slept together, and just, you know, you can imagine. So I was like, oh my God. I was like, guess what? Like, I'm actually meeting my boyfriend here today. He's with his friends, and I was with my friend as well. So I wasn't alone. I was like, would you be willing to stay with me today and like go see him? And she's like, sure. Fun times. This is definitely what I had planned for my Saturday. So we hung out, we met, we clicked, you know, bonded over what a piece of shit my boyfriend was. She was such a fucking awesome person. She was beautiful. So I messaged my partner and I was like, hey, I'm here. Meet me here outside this shop. And I will never forget this. I will never forget his face. She was standing next to me. We were walking up to him. He was with his friends, and he turned around and saw her standing next to me, and froze. He just went white, like looked like he was about to fucking vomit, pass out, and die all at the same time. And he walked up to me, gave me a hug, and then he gave her a hug. And yeah, I was just like, what the fuck? Like, you obviously know her. And then I confronted him, and it was this big thing. And I thought it was pretty fucking funny. Like, it wasn't funny at the time. Like, it just all happened so quickly. But the fact that she told me, met me, showed me everything, and then stayed with me to confront my boyfriend. Like, she was really passionate about sticking up for me and like making sure that I knew. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you cheated on me. And I don't think this was the first time you cheated on me either. So it was even more of like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, you're a piece of shit. Yeah, and then we remained friends for ages. I don't talk to her anymore, but we talked for ages on Facebook, and she was just such a nice person. She was lovely. But I don't know what she's doing with her life now, but I hope she's fucking happy. She is going to have the best karma. I hope she is living her best life, being treated like a queen as she so deserves. No hate to her at all. Like, if you don't know that someone has a girlfriend, then fuck, you are not a horrible person. Like, I feel bad for her because I know how much of a piece of shit my partner was. And he definitely used people for sex, but you know, let's not go down that road. But yeah, he was awful. So props to her. This is what I mean. Like, connections can come from shit situations. So I'm happy I found her. And that was, yeah, a fun little story. But I hope this episode empowers you girls to just know your damn worth. And I know in the moment when it's happening, it's so hard to navigate your thoughts and to put yourself first, because betrayal is just gut-wrenching and it literally rips your world from under your feet. I totally get it, especially for the first time you've ever been cheated on. It fucking kills you. And I really want the younger girls to know that that's not what you have to put up with. That is not what a healthy relationship is, regardless of the situation. And you do deserve better. And it's up to you what you do with this advice and this podcast episode. And I hope that you listen to it. And if something does happen, you think about that process and it empowers you to make better decisions and put yourself first. Because at the end of the day, you are the only important thing in your life, unless you have kids. But you know, you're important enough to be thought of and respected. And I just want to leave those words of wisdom with you. And I love you guys so much. I wish I'm there to give you a cuddle, but you can do this, okay? You know you're worth it. Treat yourself better. Do it for the future you that's going to look back and be like, fuck yeah. the future you is going to text you and meet you at a shopping center and high five you. All right, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. I'm actually crying. I don't know if you can see me on YouTube, but my eyes are watering up because that inner child shit fucks me up. Whew. Okay. All right. Shit. Okay. All right. Okay. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning. Fucking hell, I'm going to cry. I need to go. I love you guys so much. Thanks for tuning in this week. If you want to find more from me and connect, please follow my Instagram page, Jade Doll Pup Coaching. I have a link tree in there with my YouTube, with a Facebook group, and just fun stuff. Book a free coaching session with me if you want to talk about any trauma that's brought up or something that you've just gone through. No joke. I am a coach. So if you need anything, babes, I am here for you. Please reach out to me and let me know if you got anything from this episode. I know it was a tough one, but we're all in this together. Girl power. Message me. Send me some virtual hugs. I'm sending you guys virtual hugs. I love you guys so much, and I will see you next week. Bye.